one of TB Joshua's spiritual sons who has recently been arrested. And on that particular note, we'll then go on to talk about this South African gospel musician who says she wants to really sing gospel music, but in case anything, she might also decide to jump and do other genres and all that kind of stuff. The reason why I wanted to put these stories along each other is because what is real, what is fake, what's necessary, what's not necessary, particularly on these two subjects here. And so spirituality, Christian commentary videos, those are the two subjects we're going to be tackling on this video. So she says that she might actually branch and do other genres as well. So maybe you might see her in gospel music, then the next day you might actually see her in R&B music. And I thought that was very fascinating, that a person who wants to sing gospel is so divided in what they want to do. Now, this takes us straight into the story of the Wiseman. One of TB Joshua's Wiseman has been arrested. Now, you might be asking yourself, what was he arrested for? Now, he was arrested for preaching in public space, in a public space. I guess in Thessalonica, they want you to have some sort of permits and so forth. And in the process of doing that, you might get in trouble with the government. Okay. Now, that just shows you the landscape in which we are is actually becoming hostile towards the gospel, towards preaching and all that. We might differ about theological points or theological beliefs and all that kind of stuff with him. But one thing for sure is that no matter where you're going, the landscape is becoming more hostile towards people preaching. That's the one thing that I saw from that. Now, why did I want to tackle that story with this one? One might have been in the field in perfect understanding of what is necessary and what is needed. A lot of people take their gifts and they think the gifts define everything. Now, I've explained this before, actually, where we were speaking about some people create these things like they have a passion for helping the needy, and out of that philanthropy, they create a church. They have a passion for singing, they create a church and a ministry from singing. They have one area where they create an entire ministry. Now, by creating ministry, I'm not talking about, for instance, this YouTube channel. No, I'm talking about people who actually go and start a church. They start a church for that one thing. A person perceives that they have a gift of healing. And what do? They go start a church for healing, where a person allows the gift to be over the preaching of the word, which is what the purpose of a church is. It's not to further a gift. The church is to grow the body. And healing doesn't grow the body. Okay? Yeah, it's not healing that grows the body. It is people advancing and further understanding in what they believe. That's what grows people. But people do these things a lot. You see these kind of things a lot. Now, why do you think that lady thinks she can go sing R&B and come and sing gospel? Because she thinks gospel is the voice. She thinks it's alleluations and dip the voice, increase the volume. You know, that's what she thinks gospel is. She doesn't have the right perception of gospel. And so as a result of that, she has diminished it to say, it's just like any other song. I can just do this other genre and then come back and do gospel. The other person might have a perfect understanding of, I'm being arrested because in the position where I am standing, it opposes their moral standards. Teaching, preaching in the street. And so they end up arrested. But then on the other hand, while you are speaking about that same, you have a person who doesn't understand the impact of what they're supposed to be doing, so they go out, they mix it. If you want to understand the earlier video that we did, we were talking about this Ingoma Gospel Awards. We spoke about that in the earlier episode. Check it out in the pinned comments. Ingoma Gospel Awards, they were held on the 27th, and they had people who were busy there thanking their ancestors. Now, what do their ancestors have to do with God? Now, sometimes you'll have people who say, no, but you do have ancestors in the Bible. Yes, but we are not thanking ancestors. You don't see thanking ancestors in the Bible. So, so it kind of shows that people are lacking in that area. You do not see ancestors being thanked in the Bible. Jesus spoke about Abraham and thingy. He's speaking about ancestors, but he's not thanking ancestors. Okay, context. So you don't just use that to justify anything. But because people don't understand to what end, in that video, the thing that I wanted to highlight is you can't even give God one event where you're just there to thank God for your gifts, to appreciate each other's gifts. No, they can't. They're so in their kernel that, anything just goes. You have people thanking their ancestors at a gospel event, at the pillar of where people are supposed to. You are a representation to people who can't hear preaching messages. Gospel music is one of the first things to reach people. But because most of these things just regurgitated, they're still singing Hallelujah Hosanna. From 20 years ago, you're still singing Hallelujah Hosanna. You should be ashamed of yourself. Most of the gospel music, it's one genre, it's one area of church which is just, I wouldn't defend. Me, I wouldn't defend. Because most of this, there's no, they think singing is the final thing. And they think they can sing without understanding the Bible. Most of them sing their feelings. The fact that you can commute yourself with people that don't have a clarity of what they're trying to do. You see this lady who's saying she wants to put out a gospel music and then go and do other genres. Perfect example of what I've been talking about. Is that there are people out there in the public claiming something, but they don't have a perfect they don't have a perfect understanding of what the presentation must be. Sing R&B, if you don't understand why people sing gospel or why people should sing gospel the way they're supposedly singing it out there, is that the gospel message has a very, very high calling. Yeah, and if it's just a nice voice thing, just rather not do it. Just rather not do it. You can see when one person understands what kind of persecution they can take, and when the other person comes in and they think they're just going to have fun, they think, it's just pushing time. Let me just be practicing my voice. People like taking chances out there.